Saving lives. Well, Narcan is important for that. So are fentanyl strips that allow users to test the heroin before they inject it. And there is one mother from Carroll County who knows that firsthand and uses those tools. And she knows that treatment doesn't always work. Her son went to rehab 7 times in 5 years before he overdosed and died.
I remember just hearing the screaming, and I couldn't, at first I couldn't focus on who it was, and then I heard it was me.
This is the last photo Gina DiMaria has of her son, taken 3 weeks before he died of an overdose at 22. Anthony was a good kid, a state champion motocross rider, but when he broke his femur in an accident, doctors prescribed OxyContin and Percocet for the pain.
So
he became addicted.
Back then is nobody should have pain. Nobody should have pain, especially kids.
Needing to feed his addiction, he later told his mother opioid pills were too expensive.
Someone had introduced him then to a $10 baggie, and it did the exact same thing.
His last rehab 5 years ago was going well, and then
I believe he met up with some people, and they had heroin, and he used that one last time. It takes everything from you. And then it takes your life.
I would imagine that the hardest thing is wondering what your son might have become.
And I miss him terribly.
Gina has turned her heartbreak into action, working up to 90 hours a week to save the lives of other addicts. She hands out Narcan and test strips for deadly fentanyl.
Right now, it is so out of control that we've got to try to keep them alive.
It's that basic.
It's that basic. We got to keep them alive, because if we keep them alive, there's a hope for recovery. If they're dead, there's no hope for recovery.
And Gina's story I have heard again and again of somebody who is taking the pain pills for a legitimate reason. They have an injury, they have a surgery, and then before they know it, they're hooked.
Yes.
And that's what happened with your son.
Yes, it is. He became injured. He broke his femur, and at that time the mindset was no pain. They didn't want any, he was only 15 years old at the time, and they didn't want him to have any pain.
And tell us what you do now with Anthony's Way.
With Anthony's Way, I do a lot we do outreach on the street. We have tried to change our way of approaching people because of the ever-changing drug, fentanyl. There's been a time where I noticed that there were a lot of people not calling us because of, trying to get into detox, and I started talking and asking people, and the reason is they're dying. The heroin a year ago isn't the heroin today. One-time use, they can die. So we try to give out, we've given out enormous amount of strips, and they're expensive, but we tried to give as many as we can out, and it's not going to stop them from using, but it's going to keep them alive.
And your son did go to rehab. He tried.
He tried. He went to rehab 7 times. And it was just, it doesn't make sense. I mean, that's why I believe wholeheartedly it's a disease, because of the constant drug seeking. And that's what he did. He constantly was drug seeking.
Well, you've made it a mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.